Welcome to Aspiring Runners. I'm your host, Ray Whitby. And today's video seems to be very timely to be talking about the coronavirus, COVID-19. And I've seen a lot of videos being produced by runners, and one wonders just how practical, pragmatic the advice can be. Certainly as a beginner runner, you may get scared by the whole thought of being in that condition of a place where you could contract it and suffer it, or worse, to be able to pass it on to those that would be badly influenced by it. And I think there are a lot of precautions that you can take, and there's loads of advice out there. But for me, I've just had 2 races cancelled, and one is the Halstead in Essex Marathon, and the other one should be doing later this week, which is Bedgebury 10k. And for the marathon, I simply haven't been able to put the training in. So in part, one could say it was a bonus that out of my control. I couldn't have attended anyway. But still disappointing for the others that have put in the training and won't be able to make it. The organisers have had to respond within the UK to government advice. Thankfully that has come a lot stronger lately with a big push from the scientists at university that are doing the research and actually getting the facts together, so that hopefully we'll see a lot less political decisions and a lot more informed decisions from the people who actually have the data and showing the true potential impact of this virus on the nation. But whilst you're maybe reeling from some races that are cancelled, the thing to think about is, are you still going to meet up with other runners? And certainly the advice that we've got is to actually avoid, as best as possible, situations of social contact, so that you're reducing the degree of exposure to yourself and to others, should you so have it, unknowingly, and then passing it to others. But I think with everything, we have to balance the fear of what it represents as a pandemic with perhaps being a little bit too blasé that maybe I'm in that right age group and I don't have the underlying health conditions that are propagated in the media, and therefore I'm all right. It doesn't help from either extreme. Somehow we just have to apply a lot of common sense into the situation and think about what is the impact for myself, my family, my friends, my colleagues, even the general public, people that I meet on the street. Have to be very sensible with it. But equally, isolation, it's not a good thing in many age groups nowadays, of being completely cut off from society. Now others may choose to be that way, but equally it's never been recognised as being a healthy condition over a protracted period of time, and that's exactly what we're looking at with the COVID-19 virus. That if we are not looking just at a couple of weeks or even a couple of months, it could be a year, 18 months, where we're trying to go through these conditions to help as a nation protect each other as well as ourselves. That if we have gone for exclusion, very, very difficult on the mindset. But equally as a runner, there is at least a chance that if you are able to get out there and run by yourself, that you're wise about the routes that you pick, avoiding the interaction with others as best as possible, then perhaps running would be the answer to help through of being able to maintain a positive attitude in life, but equally without worrying so much about decreasing performance. Of course, if you're blessed enough to have your own personal gym, fantastic. That you could do all your training at home, but many others don't. So it is important then to want to get out, to keep going with your training regime. And many people feel that if they take too many weeks out from running, whether it's preventative, whether it's illness, whether it's already injury and ill health, that after a number of weeks, everything that they've gained as a runner will be dissipated, and they feel almost as though it's going right back to the beginning of when they first started running, and having lost all their fitness gains during the recent months. I can testify to this because after the Beachhead Marathon, I tried to take a couple of weeks to de-stress the body, during which time I went ill. After the illness, I got a niggling injury, and for all the fitness that I built up for the marathon, wanting to get back into the 5k runs, I just felt like it was going completely to waste. Everything that I'd done, all that training, helped complete the marathon, yes, but on the back of that I wanted to get into the right development for my next attempt at a 5k PB. Needless to say, that just hasn't happened yet. I'm still nursing my body through various other niggling injuries, in part because of the weather and my own working conditions. But there is real concern, and people will then push themselves far too hard to get out there and to keep on running because they just don't want to lose out. And I think that's possibly where your positive mental attitude perhaps goes a little bit too far. You can end up hurting yourself and taking yourself out of running, not just for the couple of weeks that recovery could take, or even months, but it could be many months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, where you could be out. You can imagine the frustration of that, and then trying to get back into running. So I think it's all about being sensible of, if you have to get out, try to avoid interaction with others close up. It's about protecting yourself, protecting others. But I think it can be done, and so it's just trying to, not giving in to fear, but equally you can't be so blasé that you're putting yourself at risk or you're putting others at risk. So just a few random thoughts that in the response to the COVID-19 virus, that if you are signed up for races, the organisers will be listening to their athletics bodies, now the national advice that comes through those, and many in the UK now for the next 2 months at least have been cancelled, the races and the meets. But get in touch with them, the organisers. They'll be able to tell you what steps that they've taken with your registration and your entry fee. And a lot of them, they're postponed, they're not cancelled permanently, and you'll have the chance to run that particular race at a later stage, probably up to a year. But equally, many would be looking at offering you a refund. Of course, that's difficult because already they've put a lot of time and effort into the organisation of that run, so that they're already going through cash reserves in order to get this far in setting it up. And potentially, there's not much by way of insurance compensation coming back to them to help deal with what has basically been advised and not forced upon them by the government. So please, just think about what they're going through as well as the organisers, and hopefully not get so despondent with them, but be encouraging, be supportive, and rather than getting your money back, why don't you sign up for those races? Maybe it takes a year to wait, but what is a year? Maybe leave some comments about what your thoughts are. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe you completely disagree with me. Again, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about what a runner should do in the view of such a pandemic. And these things have cropped up time again. I fear or feel that this is just one of many things we face as a global community over the many years and decades. And if it's not viral or bacterial, it will be other natural disasters or even man-made disasters. There are many things that we have to face in life. And for me, I found that running is one of the best ways of helping deal with the stress, just even for a moment, to get yourself into the right frame of mind, knowing that your body is at least responding well and can hopefully be at its fittest potential of being able to deal with the stress or the strain or whatever you're going through. Well, look, thank you for joining me on Aspiring Runners. Please do click on subscribe, put comments down below. Would love to have your thoughts and your feedback, and hopefully you'll join me next time on this channel. See ya.